Welcome to She Shows Up.
You are the fire, ignite and unite. Together we will win the fight. Rise up and inspire with your natural fire. Together we will win the fight. Dear Black woman.
Yes, good evening, and welcome back to She Shows Up. My name is Nia Weeks. I am the founder and executive director of Citizen She and Citizen She United, and I am so happy to be back with you guys today. It's been a long hiatus. It's been a while since I've seen you guys, so here we are back. And we are back better than ever. I'm so excited because I got a team, y'all. We're about to get these Black women engaged and these Black women out to vote. Y'all aren't ready for what is coming your way. But what you are ready for, it was what coming your way tonight. I brought one of my team members up on the show tonight. And I'm really excited, y'all, because I had a conversation with this dope Black woman. And within just a few minutes, I was like, yeah, you're incredible. And I'm bringing you on this show. So you guys, welcome, Teresa Thomas. Teresa, welcome to She Shows Up.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. And I will say, I put out there that I was looking for dope Black women. And I had a resounding response from dope Black women across the state. But I saw your response and I saw what you do. And I was like, no, this is an incredible fit if she will say yes. And so, I got down on one knee and I put my best foot forward and she said yes. And so I'm so excited to bring you onto the team, Teresa. I'm so excited to talk about your work today. You filled my heart with goodness. And so I'm just really happy. Absolutely. So you are really, really dope. And I'm not sure if everyone knows how dope you are, but I want you to tell people who you are. Just give a little brief bio of who you are and watch they jump for joy like I did.
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Teresa Thomas. I am originally from California. I've been in Louisiana for about 15 years now. I'm a graduate of LSU. I have a background in hospitality and also in just my own small businesses. So I have a couple that I run currently. I have some that I've tried and that didn't necessarily work out for me or for what I was trying to do with them, so they're no longer around. And I have some new ideas that I'm always working on. So.
I love that. I'm one of those people that I think and I put it on paper and then I try to make it a thing in the world. So kindred spirit when it comes to developing new businesses and new stuff. So we talked about quite a few things and I want to bring those things up. But one of the things that I really, really love that you do, and I want to put it out there, Vegan Soul Fest, right? Can you tell us what that journey looked like and what that is and why you felt that was important for us to have in our community?
Yes. So, and I apologize, guys. I have a 5-year-old and I have a cat that's clawing at my legs. So I have been vegan for about 4 years now. And my first year being vegan was difficult for me. It was a big transition. My family is a meat family, as most families are, and just a very traditional food family. So me transitioning to veganism was shocking to my friends, to my family, to everyone. But I did it for a number of reasons. And like I said, I became a vegan. I don't remember the date, but it was I ate candy for Halloween, but I didn't eat Thanksgiving dinner. Right. So it was somewhere between that time when I made the transition, and I kind of just jumped full 2 legs in, both legs in. So all spring I went to all the festivals, and festivals are great in New Orleans, but there was no food for me. So at the festivals I was eating French fries.
There's so much food at the festival, right?
Right. But there's no vegan options. So after a full spring of festivals, I was ready just to have a festival that I could go to, I could eat everything, I could enjoy and have the full experience. So I woke up one day in May and I called my sister and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And she was like, maybe for next year. And I was like, I'm not really feeling next year. So first week of May, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. There had been some other vegan festivals in the city that weren't around anymore. And I figured if I don't do it, someone will, and no better time than now. So my first year's festival was July 21st, 2017, 2018, sorry. This would have been the third year. So in about 2.5 months, I planned the festival. It was a great opportunity for me to bring on a ton of small businesses, small growing vegan businesses that wouldn't, individually, they don't have the ability to market, to get their names out there, but collectively we were able to have billboards and radio ads and that kind of thing and really get a crowd out. So my first year, we had a little over 1,200, 1,500 people show up. And then the second year, we got rained out again. But we still had about 2,000 people that showed up for the second year. And I went from having 18 vendors the first year to having over 30 the second year. This year was going to be even bigger. Obviously, we've had to cancel it. But still trying to figure out how to keep that momentum, keep the festival alive, and still be able to provide that service to the small business. So it has been incredible to plan a festival in New Orleans and kind of be in the same conversation as some of the bigger festivals. So I'll be in line waiting for permits in City Hall, and the people for Bayou Boogaloo are right there. Or the people for French Quarter Fest. And I'm not nearly as big yet, but just to be in that same company is inspiring. So.
That's incredible. You know, one thing that you brought up and that you mentioned just now is your sister. I remember when I was, I saw her resume. I saw everything. I knew she needs to be on the team. And I remember you were like, you're saying a bunch of great stuff, but my sister is my go-to, and I don't move my sister. And it's like those of us that are big thinkers and big ideators, we need someone that keeps us grounded and brings us reality and makes sure that we're not just out there like balloons, that we have some kind of string, and we have to have one. And I love it that your sister. I love to hear about your relationship with your sister.
Yeah, so I'm the youngest. I'm fortunate enough to have 3 older sisters. I'm also the most impulsive of the 4 and the most daring, the most adventurous in all aspects of life. So the 3 of them very much keep me grounded and probably keep me alive. And they each have a different purpose in my life. So if I forget something, if I forget a recipe or something, I have a sister that I call for everything culinary because she's a chef. If I need something legal or technical, I have a sister that I call for that. And then I have a sister that is just my idea sister. So she is very much a thinker and a planner, and I'm a doer. So almost all of the things that I've started or the businesses or projects that I've been a part of is something that this particular sister has mentioned. And then I woke up one morning and was like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and do it. Or something that's an interest of hers, and I've just helped her kind of get started. So, but yeah, I don't move without my advisors.
That's incredible. I love that. I hear how you all kind of move. It reminds me of like girlfriends. Like it's a beautiful relationship that you're describing with sisters. And for Black women to have that and have that in house, I think that's incredible. And I will say, I know you got the baby at home. We all got babies at home. So baby wants to come on. Like the more the merrier. And I see that, right? Like we navigate, especially when we're like building things. We have life building around us as well. For you, we're building all these incredible spaces. And I know you just give a bulletproof rundown so they can know all the stuff that you put together. And what's it like being a Black woman, putting all those things together and navigating life itself?
It's had its challenges. During building my businesses and having my different businesses, I also had a daytime job. And I've been in hospitality for 18 years. So it's been challenging in my positions in hospitality to juggle the two, to make sure that I am fulfilling my commitments to my employer, but also fulfilling my commitments to myself and my dreams. And those two things don't always go together, because hospitality is a 24-hour business, and in my positions, I have to be available 24 hours, but that doesn't translate to being able to run a business or being able to do the things that I want to do. If I just want some downtime apart from my 9 to 5 job and apart from my own businesses. So it's been challenging, and I've had some run-ins with my family, with some of our family businesses, because I haven't been able to be there, or with my employer because I've had to request time off, or I've had to, at some point, I think, especially as women and Black women, we are so accessible that when we're not accessible, it's a problem. So having to kind of back down from that and realizing that it's okay for me to say, hey, I know that it's going to be a busy day in the hotel, in the restaurant, in the whatever, but I'm off that day. So I've worked 6 days already. I'm off that day. So don't call me. I'm busy. So getting to that point was difficult, but understanding that I had to have that balance of doing my own thing, of working for someone else, and then of just having my own time. So I know that we kind of behind the scenes have talked about COVID and like what that has done. COVID has been a blessing in disguise, I think, for a lot of people. It's the break that we all needed, that we didn't know that we needed, or we didn't know how we were going to take. It's created so many challenges for so many of us, but I think that it was still a break that a lot of us needed. And just obviously we know what happened in hospitality. So just me separating from that industry has really given me an opportunity to be fully focused on my own things. And being able to grow those, because you can't always do both. You can't work for someone and work for yourself and then still have that time for yourself, or really give your undivided attention to either.
Yeah. It's really interesting that you say, because I've had these conversations, especially with a lot of Black women about COVID. And it being a break. And it's really interesting because I hear so many other communities talk about, the frustration of navigating through COVID, and all of that is very real. All of it is very real, especially communities that are really, really struggling. Black community passing away in droves from COVID, greater and greater numbers. And so with all of that being the reality of the people around us getting sick and not being here, the reality of, all the layers, for us to even look at that as a respite as well, it speaks volumes to me about the reality of what it means to be a Black woman holding 50 hats, that's sitting in a pandemic that is emotionally taxing, but at the same time finding respite in that. Can you talk a little bit about, what that feels like that dichotomy of all the craziness and all the hurt and frustration, but also looking at it as a respite, because we don't get respite a lot as Black women.
We don't. We have 2 jobs, and we might work overnight from 11 to 7, get off, get the kids off to school, go home, nap for a little bit, go to work from 12 to 6, pick the kids up, and then do it all over again. And that's something that we're just born into. That's just something we do. And even if we don't have 2 jobs, we still have a household to maintain, and a family to support, and all of those, and friends and the people down the street just to support and just to take care of. So this gave us all an opportunity to slow down, to just breathe. My mom had COVID. I think she had COVID in July. And I was able to go to her house every day. And when she felt well enough, we'd sit out in the yard and we'd socially distance and all of those things. But I was able to be there to support her, to go to the grocery store if she needed something, to just take care of her, interact with her. Whereas if I had to go to work every day, I couldn't do that. So, it allowed me the time to take care of my mom in the way that I could. But even for myself, I'm a very busy person. So, I had a daytime job, I've run a couple businesses, all of those things. but even if it's not in a work capacity, I'm just a person who likes to stay busy. So I'll find a reason to leave the house. Oh, I forgot this. I'll run to the store. Oh, I forgot that. So not having the ability to do those things, to just go out and hang out with friends or go to the grocery store just to stay busy or whatever that looks like, to just have to sit in my house and sit and read a book. And I make that sound so miserable. Oh, I had to read a book. No, I had to read a book.
Yes.
I had to relax. I had to put my feet up because I didn't have anywhere to go. There was nowhere to go. And I don't know that any of us would or will ever experience that again, to not have anywhere to go. And, you know, other demographics, other people live that kind of life where, oh, you know, it's Saturday, I'm off. And I'm off tomorrow and my kids are at camp or whatever that is, so I can sit down to my feet up. We don't always have that reality. But through this pandemic, we have. And we've had the ability to, you know, if we got unemployment, great, our bills were taken care of. And we could just hang out with our friends. We could enjoy time with our children. We could breathe.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting because like, and I appreciate you talking about breathing. You know, I love yoga. Yoga's like my jam. I go to Magnolia Yoga. I used to go to Magnolia Yoga prior to COVID. And my favorite part of class was the breathing, because it was the moments that I got to spend time thinking about my own breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we talk about, you know, all the things around police reform and like the words, you know, I can't breathe, and so many Black folks losing their lives, you know, because of loss of breath. And the idea of being able to like step back and breathing, that feels a little bit overwhelming to consider what you said. Like, I was actually able to breathe. We don't, as Black women, we don't really get to breathe. Like that I can't breathe is real, even without police putting their knee on our necks. We're never able to.
We don't have that. We don't have the time, but I think we're just so conditioned to just be busy, to just keep moving. In another life, I'm also a yoga instructor. So I do a little bit of everything. So just, you know, at the end, getting people just to lay and just be still. So we've done it. We've done our cool down. We're going to just lay and we're going to just be still and we're going to breathe. You'd be surprised. People are like peeking at their watch or looking at the door. Just relax. You've committed to come here for 45 minutes or an hour. We're 42 minutes in. You still made 3 minutes of commitment to yourself into this yoga. So just relax. And it was remarkable to see that people just couldn't relax. It's just not, that's not in our fabric. That's not who we are. We're not relaxing people. But thanks to COVID, we learned it.
We learned it a little bit. And I was also talking to somebody about how, you know, the fact that we were not granted human touch for so long. And so our other senses sharpened. And so we see each other differently and listen to each other differently. And I remember in our conversation a little bit, and we were talking about policy and politics, and we were talking about, you know, this election cycle. And I remember you saying, like, there's been a lot of spaces because you've been so successful throughout your life that you didn't necessarily feel the impact in the same way that other Black women were feeling. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought that was just a beautiful journey when we were talking about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of a little bit of background on what we talked about. I had a conversation with a person a few months ago about policy, and this person works in women's rights and healthcare in that kind of that realm. And we just were really surface level having a conversation on the porch about policy and about elections and that kind of stuff. And I've never thought of myself as a person who was particularly political. I didn't really think that I had much skin in the game, just kind of being middle class America. I'm not affected by the policies in place for the rich people. I'm not affected by the policies in place for the not rich people. I kind of just have always skated in the middle. I grew up in a household that we just kind of were in the middle, and there wasn't a huge difference regardless of who's in office and those kinds of things, or at least I didn't think so. And as we had a more in-depth conversation about just some small policies, it made me think that, no, I don't think that this is something that necessarily affects me, but when you have a different spin, all the policies affect each other. All policies affect everyone. If it's a policy that's put in place because of a business, it's ultimately going to trickle down to me having to pay more. If it's a policy that affects the not rich people, it may be an increase in my taxes, or whatever that looks like. So just realizing that in the grand scheme of things, we're all affected by everything. No matter how small the impact may be, there's an impact, and every dollar is a dollar, and every hour is an hour. So no matter how small the impact, it's still an impact.
Yeah. And that's so real. I think, also like as a mom, right? Like I'm watching all the pieces, we're talking about education, and I'm like, that's there, but no, like it's actually impacting how my children are able to learn and what they learn and how they move. And it's really, we talked a little bit about like this reality that like from the moment we wake up till we go to sleep, there are people making decisions about each step of our lives. And like having to sit back and breathe allowed us to see a little bit of the reality of what that looks like and feels like and how that does impact us directly and our neighbors.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking of neighbors and like understanding community a little bit, you opened a convenience store. And it's so funny. I have not met very many people, especially Black women, that have opened a convenience store. And you did it in a neighborhood that you were unfamiliar with. And that was its own journey of itself. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah. So I, again, being impulsive, in hindsight, my advisors all said no, and I did it anyway. So that reinforces that I don't move without my advisors. A business friend of mine came across this great opportunity to open a convenience store in the lower Ninth Ward, which we all know is it's a little bit different than the rest of the city. It's probably one of the last strongholds that the Black community has in the city, that hasn't truly been like gentrified or that doesn't have even a presence really. It's really just.
They trying.
Oh yeah. From the time I moved in to the time I moved out, there was a change.
Yeah.
So I moved in, I opened a convenience store, and I'll never forget, the first couple weeks as the vendors started coming in to drop off supplies and inventory, they all were like, "Where's the owner?" I'm the owner, and they were like, "Oh, okay." My cigarette rep was an older Black man, and he was just absolutely blown away. He said, there's only about 5, maybe 6 Black convenience stores, Black stores of this sort in the city, and it's typically a man, and oftentimes they're Eastern African, so not even Black people, they're African, just kind of to make the distinction. But if they are Black, it's a man and his wife if there's a woman involved. So to walk in and see me just like blew him away, and he was over the moon. But it was really eye-opening for me. Again, kind of being in middle class America, if you will, most of my life, just to see how a different population lives, how different people live, and how their lives are just so different. Seeing people run after the bus every day. Or I'd see them in the morning going to work at 6, and I'd see them dragging coming home at 9:30 because they were working those 2 jobs. And I'd see their kids get off the bus, and the kids would come in and buy their chips or whatever, and their kids would go home by themselves because the parents were working on both ends of the day. So it really just opened my eyes, and kind of go back to that policy conversation. I have a different view of things because I had different conversations with different people than my usual circle. And understanding, no, I don't really care about what this is, but I can see the impact of me not caring about something that I didn't think was related to me, because another Black woman lives a life that's very impactful for. So the store was open. I opened in November of last year. I closed down in March, April, kind of. We were trying to hold out and see what COVID was going to do. but ultimately ended up closing for a few reasons, COVID being the main, but just the buying power and the ability for us to still be financially viable in a community that every dollar counts. So if the store across the street was selling it at 59 cents and I was selling it at 65, they were going to 69 cents just because dollars were that important to them. So just being able to compete with the Middle Eastern and the Asian convenience stores that had the buying power, that had the ability to buy in such quantities that the price was so much lower than I could ever be.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting because what I love about you and what I find fascinating about you is that a lot of your business ventures are business ventures where there's not a saturation of Black women. There's not a saturation of Black community, you know, and even, you know, like there is, I will say, you know, and she, you know, we're all open and, you know, any representation of Black, any representation of woman, trans, non-binary, you know, all open to those, all of those spaces. But there are very few spaces that, you know, that Black women dominate. And the spaces that you jumped in, not only do we not dominate, they ain't none of us there, you know? And so you think outside the box. What makes you, what do you have inside of you that, you know, you think about, you know what? I don't see any representation that looks like me here, but I recognize this is something I want to do and that there's a need for the community. What is it that makes you move in those spaces?
I think that's exactly what you just said. It's something that our community needs and that we don't have access to, or that we're not comfortable going into. So for me, the convenience store in the Ninth Ward was providing healthy options. It wasn't just fried chicken and French fries. It was, I did salads, I did vegan options, I did wraps, I did all of those things. And
People
even
bought it, right? People bought it, right?
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. And you know, there were some people who were just determined with having chicken and French fries every day. Okay, fine, but you're gonna get an earful of this healthy knowledge while you're in here waiting on your chicken and French fries, and you're gonna at least try this, whatever it is. To know that you don't like it, you have to try it first. You're gonna at least try it.
Yeah.
You know, I had a gym for 3 years. So it was a spin studio, and I was probably like the fourth spin studio in the city, the only Black woman. It was a spin yoga studio that I opened in 2015. And, you know, spin is huge in the country. Fitness isn't as huge here, but it's something that we need. And spin is low impact, and it's good for people who are already a little bit on the heavier side. And you can listen to good music and have a good time, and you can lose a lot of weight that way and get really healthy. Yoga, like we talked about, is just relaxing, breathing, just kind of being still for a minute. So I opened that yoga and spin studio in Chantilly first, just because, you know, we didn't have anything in our community like that. We didn't have any space where we could go in and do yoga in the city. I'm very grateful. HX actually used to work with me years and years ago, so I was over the moon when Magnolia opened, because it really gave us a space to just feel comfortable and to come in and to practice. So for me, it's about, what does our community need that we don't have, and is that something that I can provide, or that I can support, or that I can help to facilitate.
I love that so much. You know, I love this idea of build it, they will come. And, you know, there's this unreal narrative about Black folks that's out there, especially about Black folks that are not, who are navigating life with economic difficulty at greater levels, and, you know, that are just impoverished for a lot of reasons, that they don't want anything better. They don't want, you know, good food. They don't want exercise. They don't want, you know, but the reality is that what's been built for them is what they have access to. And that's what they, you know, that's where they go. But if we give people a choice, you know, between, you know, eating something, and they may just get the fried chicken because they like it. Cause I know Popeyes, that fried chicken sandwich is bomb, right?
And the line is always wrapped around the corner at every single one all the time.
And it's so good. But like, I know I'm type 1 diabetic, so I can't eat like that. But if that's all that is available to me, that's what I'm eating. You know, I gotta eat. And so I love that you look at a challenge and be like, I don't care that y'all have not wanted to give it to Black folks. I'm going to give it to Black folks, and they have the option of doing that. How does that feel when you see a narrative like that out there, and you're just like, nah, actually, y'all ain't right intuitively, and then you see, yeah, I was right. I knew what I was thinking. How does that feel?
You know, I've done a lot of different things, and I've had some really, really good successes, and I've had some failures, right? I have some businesses that I just don't talk about because they weren't good ideas from the start. And I have some that I just rant and rave over. Regardless of whether they did well or not, I was impactful during the process. But it feels really good. You know, I can wake up knowing that I can go to sleep knowing that I tried. So if it worked out, great. If it didn't work out, not so great, but it happened. And like I said, you know, even especially with the convenience store, that's probably one of my sore spots still. Just because I wasn't ready to close it and COVID took it from me. But you know, I feel good knowing that I made a difference in one situation. You know, even if it was saying hello instead of and thank you at the end of a transaction, I made an impact. So it feels great. It feels great to be able to give back and to just try something and throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. It feels great.
I love it. But I do want to talk a little bit about that because, like, I've had some ideas that I was like, "This gonna be dope," and then like, "Oh wait, so not so dope." And then you know, like the time and effort and equity, especially like when you're juggling multiple balls and the golden ball falls, and you're just like, "Oh, I got to pick up and start juggling again." I do want to talk a little bit about what it feels like to put so much into something and then it not be what you want and having to recover. Because I think that we hear a lot, especially, you know, the way the world navigates it, we want to put out our good stuff. But like, we don't talk a lot about what the not so good stuff feels like and what the recovery looks like. And so can you walk us a little bit along like one of those things that happened where it was like, I have this great idea, not so great, and I got to recover and restructure how I move.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Open the door for Papa. I know. So the what you just asked was, how do you recover from? How do you pick up the pieces? And sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes, you know, you can't financially, right? I've put a lot into a lot of these businesses. And some of them I've been able to get financing, and some of them crowdfunded. Some of them I just picked up pennies in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, for some of them, I've obviously lost money in some things. And those are hard just because, you know, money doesn't come easy. I've worked so hard for this. I worked 2 full-time jobs at one point. So I was working on both ends of the day, like we talked about. So, you know, those are the harder ones to recover from when you've got money at stake or that you've lost money. For me, I've been somewhat fortunate. The universe takes very good care of me. And I've been able to kind of break even on some things. And I've been kind of able to break even on some things. I've definitely taken losses. But I think just realizing that, one, you work hard and money comes back. Tomorrow's not promised, so you got to spend it some kind of way. So you can buy all the clothes you can buy, all the shoes you can buy, you can go on vacation, you can start a business, but you got to spend the money some kind of way.
Yeah. That's real.
And, you know, emotionally, I think it's really important to realize that starting a business takes a lot. And just because you've had to close the business or it's closed or whatever that looks like doesn't mean that you failed. The effort of trying, that's so important because, you know, like you said, a lot of people have a lot of really good ideas on pen and paper, but actually bringing them and having them start is a huge step.
It is so huge. And I will say, kindred spirits in like losing a lot during COVID. Like I was working and I was like able to work and build dream businesses at the same time because I had income coming in, and it's COVID and I'm working from home and I'm rocking. And then like a month and a half ago, I lose my job because of COVID. And so now I'm like, I have no money and a lot of ideas. And now I'm in a position where I got to make something that I threw on the wall stick. And I try not to let people see me sweat. I was sweating, the responsibility of my children, the responsibility of like holding all these spaces. It was scary. And it's late nights, staying up, trying to figure out how to maneuver. It's a lot of crying in my pillow and a whole lot of prayers. And the universe, and knowing, even though instinctively I knew the universe was going to take care of me, I was terrified. I'm still terrified, even though we've gotten some great things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. It's still terrifying being responsible for other people and trying to find your own happiness. Can you give us a little insight about like what it feels like inside, holding other people, building yourself up, and like this, what's going on in here, when we're doing
I don't have any kids, so that's also helpful in me being able to have so many businesses because I'm responsible for myself, and for this cat that's driving me crazy right now. And I had a dog for a long time, so her as well. But I don't have any kids, so that frees up a lot of my time and a lot of my finances. But I still have people that I have responsibility for, or that I answer to, so to speak. So that's tough. That's tough because as much as I think that I move independently, I don't. A number of my businesses are family businesses. So my family and I own an event venue, and then we also own a plant store. So the moves that I make are very impactful for them. So I have some heavy days where I wake up and I'm like, oh, I could just stay in this bed. Yesterday I may have made a mistake and it cost us X, Y, and Z, and now my family's upset with me. Or, I made a bad business decision and, I have to figure out how to recover from that. And, the beginning of COVID was very tough for me. I've been like I said, I've been in hospitality for 18 years. I've been in my hotel for 9. And, all that just kind of came to a halt. The hotel closed. I didn't have a job anymore. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do because I had businesses and whatnot, but no one had any money to spend. And that's how you support businesses, is people buying things, goods and services. So I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. So for me, in keeping busy and kind of keeping myself sane, it was learning how to pivot and how to adapt to what was going on, to not putting so much pressure on myself. Obviously, lights will have to get paid and people still have to eat and all that kind of stuff. But understanding that I can deal with the things that I can deal with today, and I can plan to make tomorrow better.
Yeah, I love how you put that. Because that's real. I love the idea that you all have family businesses too. What is that like? I will say, and I'm talking about my dad, but like ever since I got my law degree, like I guess I'm his personal attorney, because any issue, even if it's an issue that I don't work on, I become his family attorney. And I don't like doing legal work with my daddy because it's like he's the worst client. I'm sorry, Dad.
Terrible.
It drives me crazy working with my family. Now, my friends are incredible business partners. I'm building multiple businesses with some dope people, some dope Black men that are friends of mine. I love it. But my family, nah, I'm good. What is it like having Black family business?
Well, it's a journey. We probably should have a TV crew that follows us around. Our event venue is closed right now. We haven't had an event since February. So just kind of the pressures of that lend to a different level of conversation because we're constantly trying to figure out, okay, when can we reopen? When will we reopen? What will we do? How will we do this with the requirements in place? Like, what does that look like? And we all have different ideas. So those conversations are interesting. And kind of our focus right now is our plant store, Crazy Plant Bay. It's primarily online, but we're opening a location in New Orleans in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But it shapes all of our conversations. So when we get together for holidays or birthdays, we're talking about plants. When my sisters are coming from one place that has different plants and another place has, we're transporting plants. Even when my niece walks in, she's probably the biggest instigator, and she'll be like, my mom's monstera is bigger than your plant. Your plant's not as pretty. And just kind of like get the ball rolling. So, sometimes I have to slow them down and say, we're just going to have dinner. We're not going to talk about any business. We're not going to talk about what events we have booked. We're not going to talk about what plants didn't get shipped out. We're not talking about that. We're going to have a regular family conversation about whatever regular family conversations are. And we're going to step away we're going to take off our business hats. So that's probably the biggest challenge. Obviously, families fight, business partners fight, but just being able to separate family time from business partner time. And, even my mom's a really big part of all of it. And sometimes I have to remind her, you don't get to be mom right now. You don't get to pull mom right. So you get to be regular business partner. And if you don't like what I tell you, you can't get mad and hang up on me.
There we go.
You don't get to be mom right now. So it's that balance. That's probably the biggest thing. It's just the balance between being a regular family with regular family life and being business partners.
I love that. That's beautiful. Well, we only have a couple of minutes, and I just want to give you an opportunity. There are young Black girls. I got my daughter sitting in the corner. There's young Black girls that are sitting there that think that their dreams are too big. The world is telling them that it's, the world tries to make Black girls and Black women smaller than we are. If we're working for ourselves, we can be highlighted for their stuff, but we can't be too big. We can't be too loud. We can't dream. We can't ideate. We can't find support in the things that matter to us. What would you say to a young Black girl who is dreaming big and you know what? I can change the world like this. I can change my community like this. What do you tell them when they hear the world telling them to shrink and be smaller?
I would tell them that no action is too small. And every little thing that you do is impactful. You might not make a global impact at first, but you will at least impact 1, 2, 5, 10 people. I'll tell them, obviously, work hard. We got to work twice as hard because we're women and we're Black. So work hard and don't be afraid of hard work and invest in yourself. No one's giving stuff out to anybody, really, and they're especially not giving anything out to us. So you have to make the investment in yourself. You have to do the things that you have to do the research. There's so much knowledge and wisdom in older family members, older women, the internet. Find different blogs and different women on YouTube even, and just listen to the things that they have to say, but go for it. Don't wait until it's the right time, because nothing's ever the right time. You're never going to have enough money to open this, or you're never going to have enough time to do that, but start small and it'll snowball, it'll grow.
I love that. That is amazing advice. Investing in self and nothing is too small. I love it. Teresa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So this is our first show back, and so excited to be back. I'm gonna tell you guys, you're gonna meet so many amazing members of our team. You know, we've got some, I got dope Black women working with me, and I'm so excited. I'm so privileged and so blessed to have this. Teresa, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and y'all go see her because she is going to be doing all of our business partnerships for this cycle. So y'all get ready. You're going to see her face, hear her voice, and get to know her really, really well. Y'all going to also rent her event venue. I'm going to put it in the comments at the end. Y'all going to rent the venue. Y'all going to get some plants at the plant store. Y'all are going to do everything with her because you're going to be so impressed with all the work that her and her family are doing. I'm so grateful to you for saying yes. I'm so grateful to you for all the work that you've done, you know, just being you. So thank you for showing up. I love it. All right, y'all, we have reached the end of our show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you. We've got some amazing guests that are going to be coming down the next couple of weeks. Y'all ain't ready for all this. So we're so excited to be back and can't wait to see you on the other side. Y'all have a great one. Welcome to She Shows Up.
You are the fire, ignite and unite. Together we will win the fight. Rise up and inspire with your natural fire. Together we will win the fight. Dear Black woman.